Hello everyone, my name is Afina Hasya, faculty of Communication and Language Communication Studies program student. I'm from class 441805. My study ID number is 44250386. In this video, I will give my opinion about smoking in campus area and I will give an explanation about simple present tense. Let's go and let's get started. I have one question for you. What would you do if you saw your friends smoking in campus area? Would you recommend them or would you let it slide? I'm sure you all know what smoking is. Smoking is the act of inhaling and exhaling the fumes of burning plant material, most commonly tobacco. Nowadays, tobacco comes in the form of cigarettes. Cigarettes are paper-wrapped rolls of finely cut, good tobacco that are lit on one end and smoked by inhaling the smoke. They contain nicotine, a highly addictive drug, along with thousands of other chemicals, many of which are toxic and cause cancer. Actually, smoking is highly discouraged. People who smoke outside the campus are already annoying, right? For me, smoking is a very pointless activity, and I really don't like people who smoke, especially if they do it in campus area. And because of that, on this occasion, I would like to express my opinion about smoking in campus area. Many campuses have metros for students, lecturers, and even staff working on campus not to smoke in campus area. But in reality, there are still many people who smoke on campus. They usually smoke in places such as parking lots, even cafeterias, and other places on campus. If this is allowed to continue, and no one recommends or even wants them, it can harm the smokers themselves. The reputation of the university, and even other people around the smoker, often referred to as passive smokers. Smoking itself can cause various serious health problems for smokers, such as cancer, lung, mouth, throat, heart disease, stroke, and chronic respiratory disorders, or COPD. In addition, smoking also damages teeth and gums, can cause impotence, fertility problems, and trigger nicotine addiction that affects brain function. Similarly, the effects of smoking on passive smokers are extremely harmful, ranging from chronic lung disease and lung cancer to heart and blood vessel disorders, such as heart attacks and strokes. The reputation of the campus itself will also deteriorate, as society will assume that people on campus have unhealthy lifestyles and that the campus is very poor and maintaining the campus environment and the people on campus. The campus environment, which should be comfortable for studying, has become uncomfortable and unhealthy due to the presence of people smoking. So based on that, smoking in campus area is highly inappropriate, and smoking itself is not recommended. However, in my opinion, there are still many campuses that, despite prohibiting smoking in campus area, are not strict enough in issuing warnings or sanctions, resulting in many students, and even lecturers and campus staff continuing to smoke on campus. Sometimes, if the person violating the regulation is someone with a higher position than the students, such as a lecturer, they are simply ignored and not given any warning or sanction. Therefore, in my opinion, the most appropriate solution to reduce smoking in campus area is to issue stricter warnings, sanctions, and penalties for such violations, such as warning letters, and doesn't discriminate between students, lecturers, or campus staff in issuing warnings and sanctions, as well as putting up many posters or banners encouraging people not to smoke and to be aware of the dangers of smoking itself. I hope you will never try cigarettes or even touch them. Let's create a clean, healthy, and comfortable campus environment. That's all for my opinion about smoking in campus area. Thank you so much. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the most important topics in English grammar, the simple present tense. This tense may look simple, but it's actually used all the time in daily conversation. We use it when we talk about habits, routines, facts, and even things that are permanently true. By the end of this presentation, I hope you'll have a clearer understanding of what the simple present tense is, how to form it, and when to use it correctly. The simple present tense is used to express habits, facts, and general truths. It describes actions that happen regularly or things that are always true. For example, when we say I brush my teeth every morning, it's something I do regularly. It's a habit. Or when we say the sun rises in the east, that's a fact that never changes. So basically, simple present tense is all about routines, facts, and truths. Let's start with the structure, okay? There are two kinds of sentences in the simple present tense. First, nominal sentences, and two, verbal sentences. A nominal sentence is a sentence that doesn't use an action verb. Instead, it uses the verb to be, which is am, is, or are. The structure is for positive, subject plus to be plus complement. For negative, subject plus to be plus not plus complement. For question, to be the subject plus complement. It's quite simple, and once you practice, it becomes very easy to remember. So, a nominal sentence is a sentence that shows who or what someone or something is. It can talk about a name, a profession, a place, or even a condition. For example, she is a teacher, or they are students. In this case, is and are come from the verb to be. We don't use action verbs here because we're describing a state, not an activity. Okay, let's see some examples to make it clearer. For positive, I am an international school student. Negative, she is not an international school student. Question, is she an international school student? Notice that the difference is only in the position of to be and the addition of not for negative sentences. Okay, now let's move on to verbal sentences. A verbal sentence is the opposite. It uses an action verb. These sentences show what someone does or what usually happens. For example, I play football, she plays football, they work in a bank. All of these sentences describe action. The structure of a verbal sentence is positive, subject plus verb 1 plus s or es plus complement. Negative, subject plus do or does not plus verb 1 plus complement. Question, do or does plus subject plus verb 1 plus complement? Question mark. We use does when the subject is he, she, or it, and do for other subjects like I, you, we, or they. This rule is very important. Many learners often forget to change do to does for singular subjects. When the subject is he, she, or it, we add s or es to the verb in positive sentences. For example, he lives in Jakarta. She goes to school. It rains a lot in December. If the verb ends with ch, or crsh, x, ss, or o, we usually add es. For instance, teach, teachers, wash, washes, go, goes. It's a small rule, but it makes your sentence grammatically correct. In positive sentences, we simply use the best form of the verb and add s or es for he, she, or it. For example, I live in Jakarta, he lives in Jakarta. I play football, she plays football. They are simple but important. The verb doesn't change much, so it's easy to use once you remember the pattern. For negative sentences, we use do not or does not before the best form of the verb. For example, I don't live in Bandung. She doesn't live in Bandung. I don't like pizza. He doesn't play it out. Notice that when we use does not, the verb goes back to its best form. We don't add s anymore. To ask yes or no questions, we place do or does at the beginning of the sentence. For example, Do you live in Bekasi? Does she like cats? Do they work every day? The answer can be short, like yes I do or no she doesn't. This is how we form short, polite responses in English. Now let's talk about WH questions. We use question words such as what, who, when, where, why, and how to ask for specific information. For example, what do you play? Where does she work? Why do we study English? How do they go to school? We still use do or does in these questions. The rule doesn't change. Only the beginning of the sentence does. Here are some more examples of positive sentences. She wants to be a doctor. Cows eat grass. They speak English at the office. He likes bananas. They play basketball every morning. As you can see, these are habits or facts that happen regularly. Negative examples. Okay, now let's look at the negative ones. They don't have money. Lola doesn't see Peter in class. You don't listen to me. California is not the United Kingdom. These sentences are simple, but they clearly show how the meaning changes when we add don't or doesn't. And here are more question examples. More question examples. Do they talk a lot? Does he play tennis? Does your father drink coffee? Where does she lunch? Does he ride the motorcycle? These types of questions are very common in everyday conversation. In the simple present tense, we usually use time expressions like always, usually, sometimes, never, every day, once a week, or twice a month. For example, I usually wake up at 6. She never eats junk food. We play badminton every Saturday. These adverbs show how often an action happens. One main characteristic of this tense is that the verb is always in its best form. For example, play, eat, or go. For example, I play soccer every weekend. They eat lunch together. Only when the subject is he, she, or it do we add s or es to the verb. The second characteristic is that we use do or does as auxiliary verbs in the negative and interrogative forms. For example, she doesn't eat meat. Do you like chocolate? The auxiliary verb helps create the correct sentence structure, even though it doesn't carry a specific meaning by itself. The third characteristic is that this tense often includes time adverbs, like always, usually, never, often, sometimes, and so on. For example, I always drink coffee in the morning. He sometimes drinks at night. They rarely go out on weekdays. This makes your sentence more complete and natural. The first function of the simple present tense is to talk about habits or routines, things we do regularly. For example, I wake up at 6 a.m. She goes jogging every Sunday. We go to school by bus every morning. So whenever you talk about your daily activities, use the simple present tense. The second function is to describe general truths or facts, things that are always true. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. The Earth orbits the Sun. The sky is blue. These statements are not just habits, they are scientific or universal truths. The third function is for permanent situations, things that don't change for a long time. For example, he lived in Jakarta, they work in a bank, I studied at international school. All of this describes stable facts about people or places. The fourth function is to talk about schedules and timetables. Even though these refer to the future, we still use the simple present tense. For example, the class starts at 9 o'clock, the bus leaves at noon, the train departs at 8 a.m. This is because the schedule is fixed and follows a routine. We also often use time expressions to make our meaning clearer. Words like every day, every week, always, usually, sometimes, and never tell us how often something happens. For example, I always study English every night. She rarely watches TV. We go shopping every Sunday. Okay, the simple present tense can also be used for comments or interaction. This is often seen in manual receipts or signs. For example, throw a pattern, pour the juice into the cup, open your book. Even though it's common, we still use the best form of the verb, which is part of the simple present tense. Okay, now let's try a small exercise together. Please fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verbs. Okay. My father, blah blah blah, in an office. They, blah blah blah, breakfast at home. Blah blah blah, you, blah blah blah, reading books. The shop, blah blah blah, at 9 p.m. She always, blah blah blah, her mother, in the kitchen. Okay, take a few seconds to think about it. Okay, here are the answers. First question, my father works in an office. 2, they don't eat breakfast at home. 2, like reading books. Number 4, the shop closes at 9 p.m. Number 5, she always helps her mother in the kitchen. Did you get them right? Alright, that's all from my presentation about the simple present tense. To summarize, we use it to talk about habits, facts, routines for many situations and schedules. We also learned how to form positive, negative, and question sentences using do, does, and to be. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope this explanation helps you understand and use the simple present tense more confidently in your daily conversation. That's all from me. I hope my opinion about smoking in campus area and my explanation about simple present topic can be useful for you who are watching this video. And thank you so much. See you. Bye bye.